Dr. Lawal, can we comment, please? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. I see that we're quite a few persons here. It's not the full class. I also would like us to reach out to Jeremiah, who lost his mother on Tuesday. So please do send a note of condolence to him. He's part of the team. Before I go into the lecture, which is brief, you must have noticed it's brief, I would like to ask a few questions just to check on you. It's been a while that we checked on one another. If you're here and you have started writing your manuscript, can you show your electronic hands, please? Have you started writing your manuscript? Let me see your electronic hands, please. Anyone who has started writing the manuscript? Okay, excellent. I see some few hands. Isaac, would you like to unmute your mic and just share with us briefly what the status is with your manuscript writing? MWH008. Good.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Please, good morning to everyone. All right. So, my study is on cervical cancer awareness
Excellent.
amongst university students here in Ghana, University of Cape Coast. So, it was during the vacation I came up with the idea, and then I discussed it with my mentor, that is Dr. Otiagbe. Right. And then I also, during some vacations, I also volunteered to be a research assistant. So I had the opportunity to also network and collaborate with other lecturers. And I told them about it. So currently I've drafted the proposal and the protocol for it. And then we've submitted it to the University of Cape Coast Ethical Review Board for ethical clearance. So that's where we've got into.
That's why excellent, excellent, really excellent. Well done. How far with your data collection?
Okay, so we've not started the data collection yet because we've
Yes,
not
it's,
gotten
you
the
have to
ethical
wait for your
clearance.
ethics clearance. Excellent.
Yes,
Very good. Well done. Congratulations. Celebrating you. Is there any other
thank you.
person who has started their manuscript writing? Any other person? Okay. Please, Juru Collins, can you please mute your mic? Thank you. Please mute your mic. Thank you. Um, has anybody in any other way been able to uh, use the lessons that you have learned from this manuscript writing process? Is there any other person who has used lessons learned from this manuscript training process? Any other person? Can I see your electronic hands? Whichever way you have used it, if it's changed your practice, you shared it with somebody, you're training others with it, whichever way, how have you used it? Thank you very much. Oyedele, please unmute your mic and share with us.
Okay. Good morning, Ma.
Good morning. You have to speak a
The
little
content,
louder.
yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, Ma. Good morning, Ma. The way we've used the lessons from the lessons we've done in my group, we've done we've we've passed through the literature review stage. So I
Okay.
used the lessons in knowing which literature to use and knowing what and reference in literature review stage in choosing the literature that I would use for the particular the topic that we want to work on. So that's where
Okay.
we are. We are
What
given
study
our
are you
literature
what
to our
study are you
mentor.
working on?
We're working on the behavioral the prevalence and the relationship of the prevalence and the attitudes of people
Okay.
towards mental illnesses
Okay.
in Nigerian universities.
Very good. Very good. Celebrating is very good. Very good. Well done. I look forward to the end of the project. It's likely that continue with your research beyond the scope of this training. Very good. DK, you have your hands up. Would you like to unmute your mic and share?
Okay, good morning, ma. My group with our mentor, we've started something. We are currently in methodology. Then we also have a group. I created one of our lecturers in school where we do revisions and revise all the lecture slides. So it's been beneficial, and we've been revising the lectures so far. Thank you, ma.
Okay, very good. Do you have other students beyond your team that you are reaching out to with the slides?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Okay. About how many other people have
We
you
are
been?
we are about almost 10, 5 to 10
Oh,
persons, but not
excellent.
everybody is very consistent.
Yeah, normal. Excellent. Really, really good to hear this. Well done. Well done. Celebrating you.
Thank you.
Joy, you can unmute your mic.
Good morning, ma.
Good
Can you
morning,
hear?
Joy.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. So for my team, we are at the literature review stage,
Okay.
and the materials were really helpful when we're trying to decide on our research questions and
Okay.
select the topic. We are working on knowledge, attitude, and practice of artificial intelligence
Oh, good.
among medical faculty.
Well,
So, and I've been able to reach out to some of my colleagues in school working on their school work. So they reached out to me, knowledge in here to guide on things.
excellent. It's really good to hear. Congratulations. Really congrats. Well done. I thought I saw one or two other hands. Damilari Olowo. Did you raise your hands? And I think one other person. Do you want to share what's happening with you? I think Damilari Olowo and some of these hands was up at one time. Is there anything you want to share?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Prof. Ma'am. Good morning, every other person. And good morning, Dr. Kudus.
Can you
So
speak a
for
little
the,
louder, please? Can you speak a little louder?
all right, ma'am. Can you hear me now, ma'am? Good morning, ma'am. Hello?
We can hear you. Just speak a little louder. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So, for the knowledge about the research, the writing, and the program so far, I've been able to help quite a number of persons. Um, vividly, there's even one that is also going on today for someone that is applying for a particular competition to, though she won the first stage of the competition where I was able to like go through the research topic is on disparity between students with special health oral health need as students without special needs. So the oral health hygiene, and we use some parameters and some oral parameters to assess students with special needs and people without special needs. So there is based on the result, it was a primary research. So the
Okay.
results showed that students without special needs still have some oral health issues more than students with special needs. So that was a kind of disparity as opposed to what we should expect, quote and unquote, because
Yes.
people without with special needs still but still have like some other physical challenges, some with autism, some with Down syndrome and all of that. But what we were able to find out, we realized that these students with special needs have caregivers who have close monitoring with this set of
Yeah.
persons, or like people who actually just go home and maybe their parent there was no close monitoring. So that's like was one of the things like we found out. So but yeah, during the presentation, and that the team came first in the presentation because that is an award prize winning a presentation for research and different types of innovation. So but today is like it was like a three group. Then the first, third, positions in each group. That's 9. Then we are coming up today to like for the final round of the competition. So like that's and we're able to like analyze the result, do a proper analysis of the result and be able to like present it, like well appealing and PowerPoint and be able to like came first, the first one. Then now today is like the final stage of the competition. So this is like the lessons I was able to use and how to analyze some of these things and understand what p-value is and how to be able to put it forward to the audience was from these lessons, and I really appreciate that. So that's like the things I'll be able to apply. Thank you, man.
Very good. Very good. We're celebrating you here. Very good. Very, very good. That's good testimony. Well done. We wish you the best in this, and please let us know the status. We are rooting for you. And if you want us to support you in any way towards preparing for the presentation, let us know. So very good. It's good to know that about a quarter of the class is really doing something good with what they are learning here, beyond collecting the money for the internet access, and of course doing 1,000,001 things with the money that you do with your internet access. So let's go to the discussion. I'm not going to talk about results. We've already had a session on results, but then presenting the discussion. The discussion is one of the most challenging parts that people usually find to write in the manuscript. And because it's challenging, you find that there's a shortcut to writing it. Let me go back to what this is all about so that we are all on the same page once again. I'm sure you had a wonderful 2/3 section of training. It's been intensive for those of you that have been able to continue to this moment. I celebrate you. There is no way your career trajectory will ever be the same again if you have spent this much time. I look forward to some. Is there anybody here that's, because of this training, you have become a lot more disciplined with time? Is there anybody here? Let me see your electronic hand. Because this means you are doing your assignment, you are waking up in time for 8 o'clock. Has anybody's life changed because of this? Thank you so much, Oyedele. Yes, DK, Damilare. Yes, you find out that not only do you, yes, and Sadiq, become a lot more disciplined, you also are expanding your resilience. Your colleagues are doing so much in medical school. You are doing so much plus more, which tells you that, guys, you are resilient. You can accommodate if you define your path of success. Once you define your path of success, you can expand to accommodate what is necessary to make yourself successful. So you are accommodating a 24 weeks intense training, which means you come to class for 1 hour, you do your assignments, you are writing your manuscript, yet you are performing as a medical and dental student. That is exceptional. It's not routine. If when you draft your CV, you must note that you are a resilient person. And like I noted, you see, your colleagues are doing other things. You're making every good use of every hour that you have. It's a life-changing experience. Your life can never be the same. If you're going to be a Dangote of tomorrow, in whatever field, these are the on soft skills, never written, that you need. And this is what this project, this training brings to you. You acquire soft skills that will make you a Dangote of tomorrow, and you're acquiring it very early in your life. So I congratulate all of you. This series of training is enabling you. Are very much focused on manuscript writing, but we do know that beyond manuscript writing, you also acquire other competencies, and one of which I've talked about, which is resilience, another is about time management, another is about focus, and 24 weeks of being immersed in such a process is very powerful. It's a life changer. So yes, we're enabling you start now in the cradle, at the very foundation of your academic life, whichever way it is, whatever way you go. Even if you become an entrepreneur tomorrow, these skills become very important. Academic life, you can decipher, you can put things together. It is not irrelevant whether you come into the academia or not. This is not what this is about. But wherever you are, you're able to see things, you're able to do research. Even as a housewife, cooking meals, it is research. You would know that For me, for example, I know that if I use Maggi to cook, the quantity of what I put into that stew is different from if I use no. And it's different from if I use another type of seasoning. It took me to be observant and to be able to manage and understand the quantity. That's also research. Research also allows you to know that this quantity of any food item I put in the food makes this food different. It is research. Many of us don't know that the skills. Once you own that skills, then you're a better cook. If I decide to sell food now, because of my research skills, I will be a better person selling food, operating a food canteen than persons that do not understand the fundamentals of research. So it's a life-changing skill, and I hope you know it like that. You acquire skills to write. You also acquire personal standard. For me and Kudus, what we're training you is to always go for the best. We're teaching you to write manuscripts for Q1, Q2 journals, the best of best. The first manuscript you write should be able to go to a Q1 journal. That is a major landmark in your life. The very first day, and that's because you're standing on the shoulders of giants going the right way. And that should become a part of your life. You go for the best. If you fail, then you get to the second best, which is what Q2 is about. But you can't fail and go to Q4 and Q and nothing. You would always pass because we've given you the formula to always pass, and you will always be in Q1. But just in case there is a fall shot, whatever it is, you only land in Q2. We are not teaching you to be anywhere else, okay? So be sure, be confident. There's no way you can go through this route that you would never become the best in life. You would always become the best in life. There is nobody that goes through this that will fail medical school because your critical thinking, your head, your mindset is very different. And I'm celebrating you as part of our success story. So let's look at the discussion part of your manuscript. The discussion, like I said, is one of the toughest places to write. Why is it tough? Because this is where your ingenuity comes in. Read my lips. Ingenuity. You can only write a strong discussion session with ingenuity. Remember, when you wrote the introduction, you pulled together people's thoughts. They were not your thinking. Okay? Yes, you are brilliant in that you can put it together well. But what you're doing there is not your thoughts. What you're doing is bringing the thoughts of others in the field to be able to write what is known, what is the gap, your conceptual framework or your theoretical framework, and then you beautifully write your objective using a SMART thing. And then you move into your methodology. Please note, methodology you can copy and paste, though you cannot copy and paste because plagiarism will pick it. But methodology is standard. You have gone through strobe. What you will write in your methodology is standard. It has been defined for you. You must write study population. You must write study design. You must write blah, blah, blah. It is already fixed. And you can take from what you've written in the past, tweak it. Discussion, it doesn't exist. It is new and it is novel, and you must be a critical thinker. What many people do as a shortcut is to compare. Remember that this session says discourse. That means what your findings. Why is it so? Your findings, why are you finding? What is it about your finding that is new or special? Where, it is critical thinking. It is not about comparing and contrasting. This is not the place to say, my prevalence is 2. It is different from the prevalence in Afghanistan, that is 5. And it is higher than the prevalence in Jerusalem, that is 2. This is not discourse. That one is compare. This session is not compare. This session says discourse. And it will make you go to read again. For example, just like Damilare noted, why will people without special need have poorer oral health than people that have special need? It takes you to now sit down and ponder and think about it. And like they noted, they postulated that what happens is that people with special care needs already have special attention. And that special attention is not just to their physical health, but also to their oral health, is a postulation. Unlike the people with general health that just takes their life normal without giving attention to their oral health. But that's a postulation. Even in that postulation, you have to go and read and study. Your postulation may mean that you're going into psychology to look what is the psychology behind this behavior. It might mean going into the field of music, understanding what there is in music. It might mean going into this field of indigenous health to understand this. This is where your brilliance shows. And this is the first place in the entire manuscript that you are starting to share your thoughts. So you might find in discussion sections that there's a lot of things in the discussion sections that are not referenced because it is your postulation. And you must write that section with that note that is a postulation. The second brilliant thing about your discussion session is that this is the reason why they will quote your paper. If there's nothing in this place to quote your paper, that's the end. Because in your introduction, you are quoting other people to make a case for your study. However, in your discussion, you are starting to postulate. This may be a reason. This may be a reason. This may be a reason for my finding. This may be a reason for my finding. It is because of this, your postulation, that somebody else will go and do another study and quote and say, Oyedele noted that this is a possibility. And therefore, I am now trying to see if it is truly a possibility. It is the brilliance of your thinking that makes that your paper quoted, not your introduction. If I'm communicating with somebody here, send them an emoji showing your hands up. If I'm communicating with you, show your emoji and let me know. So your discussion session tells the readers, thanks, Damilare. Yes, thanks, Oyedele. Why is it only the two of you that I'm communicating with in this meeting? All right. Thanks, Isaac. Thanks, DK. Yeah. Once I know I'm communicating, thanks, Joy. Are the same set of people talking? Where are the others now? Where are you here? Could you please help me to check them if they are here or Basi? Maybe they're here in the spirit, their body is not here. Are you here? Let me even call them because they can just be here with Akonde, praise the Lord. So what did you learn in the last few minutes, Akonde, Precious? Please follow. Can you unmute your mic? Tell me, what is it that you've learned in the last few minutes? Yeah.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. I learned
You have to
that
speak up,
during.
ma'am. Please speak up. Speak up.
Okay, ma.
Speak
Good
louder.
morning, ma. Hello, ma.
I can hear you. Continue. Just speak up here.
All right, ma. Okay, so in the past few minutes, I learned that this section is supposed to be like a discussion section and not that we are comparing things because it's based on what we discussed that others will be able to make like references to whatever we've but whatever we are able to come up with. So we are not just supposed to compare, we're supposed to go in depth and discuss our results.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that summary. So you are discussing with evidence, discuss it with references. This is your postulation. Like Damilare noted in their postulation, they will have to, if they write a manuscript, they will have to support that postulation with a reference that is making them think. Okay, this is why they think like this. Evidence have shown that risk-taking philosophy or theory that shows that risk-taking is less by people that have special needs as opposed to people that think that life is usual and nothing and they just walk around. They find things to try and explain, but they are now showing your brilliance. Thank you very much. And thanks to everybody that raised their hands. Obasi, and can I hear your voice? What did you take away from the lesson just now? Obasi?
All right, good morning. Good morning, ma'am. I learned also that the discussion segment of the manuscript of research is the part where you communicate with your readers, is the part where you get to be ingenuine. For the other parts of the research, probably the methodology, those things are defined already. But where you are able to really, really communicate the essence of your research is in the discussion segment. And that is why it stands as a very, very important portion of the research. And if there is nothing significant in your your discussion segment, then you might not be quoted. Your research might not be quoted. If anyone would quote your research, it's because of the details you highlighted in.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for that summary. So this is where you will find that you will be also in your as I go on, I'll tell you what the content of the sections are. This is where policymakers will coach you because you're generating evidence for policy, you're promoting future research, you're reflecting on what should be done. Okay. So this is very important. Okay. Very good. Usually in your discussion session, these are the components these are the paragraphs you find. The first paragraph is a summary of your finding. That is how it starts. This is how you write a Q1 journal manuscript. So I'm not talking about how you write any other manuscript. In a Q1 standard manuscript, this is how it is expected. Juru Collins, why are you showing your face? Is there something you want to tell us, Juru Collins? Thank you. We see you're walking about. I hope the walking about is producing results. Please put off your mic, your video. Can you put off your video, Juru Collins, please? Thank you. If he doesn't put off his video, please take him out of the session. If he was pretty, I would be looking at his face. He's not pretty. Please, could you send me to put off his video? And then if he's not taking it off, he's not even wearing shirts. Please take him out of this place. He's not even wearing shirts. Please take him away. Take him away. I'm waiting, Kudus. Please take this Juru Collins away from here. Thank you.
I removed him already.
Thank you. That's a dangerous person. Before we know it, we don't know where we'll be looking at again. So the first part of your discussion is the summary of your study findings. Summary of your study findings, that's the first paragraph. The challenge here, once again, remember I said your discussion, you have to be very smart. You must be able to write your summary without repeating any figures or anything you have written in your results. For example, your results shows that the prevalence of diabetes is 29.1. Okay? Remember that in your results, you must write precisely what you said. Do not summarize. Do not interpret. That is not where to interpret. It is in discussion. So in your results, you notice that the prevalence of diabetes is 29.1. In your summary, you would now note that the study found that 1 in every 3 Nigerians have diabetes, approximately 1 in every 3 Nigerians, or approximately 1 in every 4 Nigerians. So it's an interpretation of your finding, but it's a summary of your finding. The first paragraph is a summary of your finding. So that whoever, many times when I don't have the time, I know where to look for, because a manuscript is structured. So when I don't have time to read, I know where to go to in a Q1 paper, where to go and look for the things I want. Okay, so that is why it is structured. It is standard. It can be pulled together. And once you are able to write things properly according to research guidelines, it is very likely your paper would go into systematic reviews, umbrella reviews that then are used for policies. So the first paragraph is the summary of finding. The second paragraph is where you discuss the strength of your study. What makes your study reliable? What makes it unique? And you must have started introducing that in your introduction. What is the new thing you are talking about? What is the new thing this study is finding that nobody else is finding? That's your strength. Of course, there will be limitations. You then discuss your limitations. Many people go into other kinds of journal, Q3, Q4, non-indexed journals under the table, will put their limitations at the end. This is what people have been doing for years. But go check your stroke guideline. I'm sure when you did your methodology and your results, somebody introduced you to the guidelines. Go and check it. The next report after your summary should be your strength and limitations. Why? So that whoever is reading your discussion already understands the limitation and then reflects on your discussion based on the understanding of that limitation. They understand the biases that are there. Please note that manuscript is not about you. You are not protecting your integrity. Manuscript is about putting the truth as much as we know out there. The facts that you are generating to enable us get to the truth. That is what we are doing. So you must tell us what the limitations are. For example, when I am writing about Ile-Ife, I'll do a lot of my studies in Ile-Ife central local government. I let them know that, look, Ile-Ife's central local government is only one to 774 local governments. And therefore, this study cannot be generalized to Nigeria. Once again, this is not about you, it's about science, it's about the truth, it's about understanding. However, the study can be generalized to anything that has a context. Or for example, if you're doing a study on Nigeria, if you have collected samples from the 6 geopolitical position, you cannot say you're doing a study in Nigeria when I only collected data in Ile-Ife central local government. Or you only collected data in one hospital and you say that this is representing Nigeria. As a perceived, it's not true, that's false. However, its application, when you're talking about application, when you're going down, it can be applied to other countries or other local governments that have similar socio-demographic profile. Yes, where the data doesn't exist, then they can extrapolate. And this has been the problem with Nigeria, which you and your generation must change. Because we have not had data from Nigeria for a long time, people will extrapolate data from South Africa, where a lot of research is happening, and use that to define policies and programs in Nigeria. It doesn't work because we're not the same people as South Africa. You and your generation must generate the data for Nigeria so that our policies can work. Very recently, last year, I walked around the Nigerian oral health policy. There is no data. The data gap is huge. We can't find data on critical things. So I had to go look for data from other countries where they are. Of course, it will have its limitation. I'm basing a whole national program based on data that is not from Nigeria. Your generation must change that trajectory. You must change that trajectory. You must put out factual information that can represent the country in a way that it can be used for policies and programs. So you do your summary first, you then write your strengths, you write your limitations. It is only after that that you now start to give meaning to your findings. Please note, as they have told you when you were writing your results, focus on your study objective. This is not a place to be saying the males are more than the female, when that is not your objective. Your objective is to look for the differences in the oral health profile of special needs, people with special needs as opposed to those without special needs. You focus on the finding related to that. This is not the place to be saying more males than females have oral health. This is not your study. This is not the place to say that socioeconomic status of those that are lower is more than those that are higher. This is not your focus of your study. In thesis, you can be doing that in relevance. In manuscript, you focus, discuss what your objective said you are here to do, and answer that question. Once you are answering the question, if there's any surprising finding, explain it. Like Damilari and his team said, it was surprising that they found that those without special need had worse oral health than those with special need. It's surprising, but they had to explain it. If there's anything unexpected, explain it as much as possible. If there's anything inconclusive, explain it. For example, there was a paper I wrote, and I found out that in the analysis, we did the analysis over and over, and we found out that those that were brushing twice a day and had reduced sugar intake had more caries. That's very, very surprising. How can you that are brushing twice a day and eating less sugar have more caries incidence? But it's surprising. But you have to explain it. And how did you explain it? We said, maybe what you're finding is that after these people have found out that they had caries, they changed their behavior. It wasn't that the behavior was there before the caries. Maybe they found out they had caries and now changed their behavior. Remember, this was a cross-sectional study, so the cause effect cannot be found. And if you have surprising findings and you can't explain, say it, that this is surprising, but we cannot find any suitable explanation. So it might be an artifact. That is if it's inconclusive, all right? But you must note it. And then when you're concluding, your second to the last paragraph is always about the implications of your findings and suggestions for future research. That is usually the second to the last. Your last paragraph is your conclusion. It's usually just a paragraph, at most 2, but it's usually just a paragraph in 95% of cases. 2 paragraphs is too long for a conclusion. And what do you do in your conclusion? You write the report, you answer your study objective, and you put recommendation. Those are the two things you find in your conclusion. What is the answer to your research objective? You now answer it here. And then you also put your recommendation. So that's the content. Please, when you are writing the discussion session, this is not a place to put any new results. Don't add, if the result, remember what you are discussing is the result. If there's no results in the discussion, don't bring any results here. This is not a place to bring new results, and this is not place to repeat data. You can't have written 29.1 in result, then you're writing 29.1 in discussion. There's no data here. If there's any new data that you are putting, is maybe the data of the comparator. So like the prevalence of oral health is lower than the 42% reported in Australia and the 39% reported in South Africa and the 54% reported in Germany. So it is those other comparator that you have their data reported, not yours. So don't report results. Don't discuss anything out of the scope of the study. For example, Damilare's study saw that, okay, I'd already discussed it. We looked at special need versus non-special need. Don't start discussing differences in gender, differences in age. It is not part of the study objective. So you don't discard out of the scope. You might have found that in the result in your analysis, but then don't put it. Or then avoid unspeculated sweeping statements. If you did a cross-sectional study, you cannot report your cross-sectional study as if there's a cause-effect relationship, because there is not. It's not a cause-effect study. You can only postulate. You use languages that shows that you are suggesting. And the fact that you saw, like I said, maybe I saw more children with caries in Ile-Ife. I can't say, oh, so children in Nigeria, they are in danger. Okay, so in my study in Ile-Ife, maybe I saw 80% of the children had caries. Then I now write, Nigerian children are in danger. Abba. When I only studied one local government in the entire 771 local government. And then I'll now be saying, all the children in Nigeria have problem. No, you don't do sweeping statements. You don't stretch the truth. You don't stretch the truth. And then just relate to tangible issues that are critical, concrete, that can only be generated from the result. Conclusion must be made based on your data. You don't go, for example, Damilare study saw that children with people with special need had better oral health than those without. And then he now starts saying, you must ban sweets. How did sweets come into the picture? You must ban, that's a stretch. That's not supported by your data. Okay, although we understand that sweet is a problem for oral, but your data didn't go and look at sweets now. You didn't go and look at buying sweet and selling sweet. So conclusion, focus on what it is that your data has to say. Once again, another thing that you would bring into this discussion is what you also used in your introduction. It must be interesting. You must learn to write like a storyteller. And please know that this is where you form teams. You might not have all the skills, but your team members have skills. For example, in my own team, I have a lady who is in psychology, Professor John Lucia from the Regent University. Because she comes from the psychology background, she writes with a human angle. She writes data with humanness. So you see humanness in her writing. So I work with her. So you find out that when she edits the discussion, there's a humanness to it. It flows like a story, and you want to read it. So many times when you pick up my manuscript, you will read from beginning to end because it is a flow. It's almost like reading a novel. Okay? So you make it interesting, make it relevant, make it link. Don't say, oh, objective 1 first. So my discussion is objective 1 first. Objective 2 next. No. Even though you had objective 1, 2, 3, 4, your discussion might discuss objective 3, 2, 5, 1, because you allow it to flow and tell a story. But you will discuss all the objectives, but it doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. However, when you're discussing, make the key things, the new thing that you want to say come out first. So even if you have objective 1, 2, 3, 4, if the new thing is objective 3, discuss it first. discuss the big picture first, and then link it. Don't treat findings as if they're completely independent of yourself. You might start to read places where one paragraph, the next paragraph is so indistinct, it doesn't flow. Make it flow. Make the finding flow into one another. Okay. It's a skill. It's a skill that you will develop. The more you write, the more you write, the more you write, the better the skill, the better the skill, the better the skill. Okay. And the conclusion, once again, we state the important finding, highlighting only what is significant and state further direction. Do not introduce new argument, do not introduce new data, and don't always answer the research questions. Okay? Always answer the research question. Do not forget to answer the research question in the conclusion. And then state what your major finding is. Do not fill with major finding and your recommendation. Before I go to the last set of slides, does somebody have any question? Anybody with a question? Anybody with a question? Okay. This is one of those silent classes. Sadiq Moshood, can you give me one or 2 points of what you've learned this morning? Sadiq Moshood, can you unmute your mic and give me 1 or 2 things you've learned this morning? Thank you.
All right, ma. Good morning, ma. Yes, ma. So yeah, discussion is so I've learned that discussion is one of the probably the most difficult parts of your research or your manuscript.
It's one of your what?
Can you hear me, ma?
No, I can't.
One of the
That's why I
most
told
difficult
speak louder.
aspects. Am I audible now?
Yes, it's better. Thank you.
All right, so yeah, so far I've learned that the discussion part of your manuscript is one of the most difficult parts, if not the most difficult, while you are writing your manuscript. In that it's not exactly should I say rigid. There's not really a flow to it. It's more like what is actually like coming from your personal perspective. So far, like after you have done your introduction, methodology, and you have gotten your results. So what have come out of it, or based on your perspective, basically is what you are discussing in your discussion.
Okay,
Right.
all
So
right.
and
Thanks for sharing that. I would not use the word difficult. I would say it's not the most difficult. Maybe that's what I use. It's not supposed to frighten you, but yes, it takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of critical thinking, and to be able to put a good discussion together. Thanks for that summary. I'll also call on Olaore Stephen. Olaore Stephen, what did you learn? Olaore Stephen, what did you learn?
Good morning, ma. Thank you very
Good
much.
morning, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, so from the course of the lecture this morning, I've been able to understand that the discussion aspect of my manuscript writing is where my creativity really needs to come into play. Because
Exactly.
for the other parts, I'm banking on what others have done and also the lay down protocols that I'm following. However, here everything is based on what my findings are, and that is where I need to really be creative. I need to ensure that the discussion flows from one into another, and I'm majorly answering the questions that I've set out earlier from my objectives and what
Excellent.
I'm trying
All
to
right.
look at. So that's what I'm
You
focusing on.
earned your credits. You earned your credits. You earned your Kudus. You earned his credits. Very good. When I finish now, I'm going to ask Oluwaseun and Yorinde to please come up and just share 1 or 2 things based on his experience as a former mentee in this class and what his experience, the difference his experience had made. So Sheil, I'll call you shortly as soon as I finish. And I'm finishing now. So in conclusion, once again, please note is the discussion is what makes your paper quoted. This is where you start to reflect. This is where the Nobel laureate winner of tomorrow starts to reflect. This is where I'm sure I don't know if you know that just recently they started naming the Nobel laureate winners all over the world. One of the ones that struck me was somebody without an H index of 20 already noted as a Nobel laureate winner. It's not about the number of papers you collect. It's about the brilliance of the piece of work you do. So this is what we're talking about, is the brilliance. And once you're brilliant, you tell us there's a niche you are feeding. And every time, once you have a niche that is filled, your paper is relevant and they to be quoted. This is not about chasing numbers. Your generation must do something different. And if you went through Manuscript Up, please note you must do different. Something different. The discussion is that brilliance that comes into it. I love the word that Olaore used. It shows your creativity. It shows your innovation. And people, I have had people read my paper and they write me, wow, I never knew this before. This is new, novel to me. Okay. So, and that makes me happy because that's what it's supposed to be. And many times you would generate new hypotheses, proposition that enables other people to now build their research on it. It even enables you to move on to the next paper. What I tell my peers is if you wrote a paper, 10, 20 years later, nobody has quoted it, not even you yourself has found it relevant. It means that that was not a paper, that was not a manuscript, that was just filling the gap for your promotion. Because even you, when you now raise the questions, you will want to answer those questions too. And that becomes the fundamentals for your next research. It tells a coherent story. It uses languages that reflects what you actually done without stretching the truth. And then it doesn't bring personal biases. I remember there was a manuscript writing training that I did. When this person did work on female sex workers, you see, when I started reading the discussion, I had to stop. I called this person. I said, Madam, you must be a pastor. The way you are writing this thing, you are so judgmental. She now laughed. I said, you're so judgmental that I can't even finish reading it. You are the one that went to study female sex. You are judging them in your language. When you write your discussion, you must take away yourself from the paper. If you are a Catholic that doesn't believe in family planning, when you are writing your discussion, don't start to write it in a way that you will be promoting that family planning is bad. I beg. These are the kind of things. A researcher is objective, and you must be seen to stand in the position of objectivity throughout your manuscript writing. And the worst place where your judgment will show is the discussion, because you remember again, your discussion is where your personal reflection is coming in. If you do not understand the distinction between yourself and your manuscript, this is where your personal biases will start to show. Please don't bring it here. Don't come and be condemning people. Don't come and be saying you must tell the truth and be objective. And once again, the discussion must give new directions to readers. It must enable readers to say, wow, or I never thought about it like this. Wow. Many times when I read papers, manuscript, I go and jot down. This is something for me to study. That is what your paper must do. It must create that new thinking that allows somebody to go extra mile and go and want to study this further many times. I talked about people earlier in my career life, not too far back. For the first 3 months of every year, I spend it reading 100 manuscripts. And from each of those manuscripts, I will jot out for me key lessons and the next study. And it is from there that I do studies. Those studies that I've done, I did it for 2 years consecutively. I have still not finished it till today. It gives you a broad mind. It gives you points to argue. I can argue from any angle. I can write dentistry and argue from technology. I can read dentistry and argue from religious angle. And that is also matters by bringing a multidisciplinary team. On that note, I'd like to say thank you for listening, and then call now on my TA, Sean. Can you share with us in a minute or two what your experience has been like and what it's been like for you in terms of writing manuscripts? Over to you, Sean. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time to be here.
Good morning once again, Prof. Dr. Kudus and the fellows. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity. Yeah, my experience in just one word, I would say it has been really transforming. And when it comes to manuscript writing, I think I have the confidence also to write any part of manuscripts. And one thing that really helped me was because during our time, we had this uh, YouTube platform. So what I did was that I downloaded all the videos so that I will be able to get access to them offline whenever I need them. And up to now, I still go back to those videos and I don't need data. Just like I have them on my phone, I have them on my system. So it has really helped. I don't know if they can also, if you guys can also like use that kind of method also, because there are many times that you need to revisit those videos also. So, and it's one thing also to listen and learn. There's another thing also to make use of it. Make use of it in the sense that you have to practice what you've learned. It really helps a lot. So, like maybe you collaborate with people. Maybe now you've learned how to write the discussion section. Then also collaborate with people and also like implement what you've learned. So in a nutshell, it has really been transformative for me and it really like making me like have this kind of confidence and work with different people from different levels and different walks of life. Thank you once again, Prof, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Like I told you earlier, I mean, he wasn't here. It's a transformative experience. Please grab it with your two hands. We have 4 more minutes. Is there anybody that has questions, clarifying questions? Anyone? Comments, clarifying questions? Any comments, clarifying question? Otherwise, you have your 3 minutes back. I wish you all a wonderful day and looking forward to your next session, the next interaction I have with you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, ma.
Bye, everyone.